All right, this video I'm going to be showing you how to edit your photos in Bridge before putting them on Flickr. This is actually pretty simple. So I've got this assignment here, and I've already given 5-star photos to the 5 photos that I want to turn in. So I'm going to turn on my 5-star filter to select these 5. And again, I'm going to select all of them by pressing Control A on my keyboard to select them all. And I'm going to come up here to the top of my screen in Bridge, and I'm looking for this Open in Camera Raw button. And Camera Raw is a real simple, easy to use photo editor that is going to give us the power to do some really cool things to our photos. So I'm going to go ahead and click on this Open in Camera Raw button, and that's going to pop this open here. And the first time it opens, you're going to see this. Just go ahead and click on Get Started to get rid of that. And let's go through and talk about some of the things we can do to our photos here in Camera Raw. So some of the coolest things you can do in Camera Raw are here in these buttons and in all of this stuff right here. We're going to skip all of that for now. We're just going to go to some of the basics and hit up how we can fix or make our photos look just a little bit better, a little bit nicer, a little more professional before we turn them in. So let's start right here with the exposure slider. Adjusting this is just going to adjust the overall brightness or darkness of the photo, and you can see if I want to make it a little bit brighter, a little bit darker. I do that with exposure. No big secret here. I'm going to just brighten this one up a little bit. Next, I'm going to come down to the contrast slider. I usually add a little contrast to my photos. You guys are probably more used to a lower contrast photos, as that's kind of popular and trendy right now. So you decide where you want that to go, whatever you feel looks best. If you're not sure, what I like to do is just slide it back and forth like this and try and stop somewhere that I think actually looks kind of good. I'm going to skip highlights and shadows for now, and I'm just going to jump down to whites and blacks. And what I like to do with these sliders, I like to make the bright parts of the photo brighter and the dark parts of the photo darker. And so we do that by bringing the white slider to the right. And again, I'm looking for, I don't want things to get like pure white. Like if I go this far, and this cement back here has gone pure white, and the sun on the keys has gone pure white, I've clearly gone way too far. So I'm going to bring that back a little bit. And then I do want to make the black parts or the dark parts of my photo darker. So I'm going to do that by bringing it this way. But again, I don't want to go too far. I don't want things to go completely black like that did right there. So I'll bring that back just a little bit, right about there. A real neat little keyboard shortcut to use when you're doing whites and blacks is to hold down the Alt key on your keyboard, ALT, the Alt key, the one right by the space bar. And you can see if I hold that down as I'm moving my black slider back and forth, it's showing me, like right now, there's nothing in the image that's pure black. But as I drag this to the left, you're starting to see some black and some blue and some green. So things that are black are now pure black. Things that are blue are getting pretty close to pure black. Like the more I go, the more things are becoming black and black. And the farther I go, and then things obviously get really bad where a lot of the image is pure black. So what I like to do is just kind of drag this over, and I do want a few things to be pure black. Like I don't mind that this window back here is pure black and right there. But as soon as things that shouldn't be pure black start to turn pure black, that's when I stop or back off just a little bit. So watch, like right here on this key as I'm holding down the Alt key and bringing the black slider over. I don't really want that to go pure black, so I'll probably stop right about there. Same thing with the white slider. I can hold down Alt as I bring it up. As things turn white, they're going pure white. As things turn red, that means they're getting pretty close to pure white. So you can see now the cement is starting to turn white. And again, I want to stop when things that shouldn't be pure white are starting to turn pure white. So I don't mind that that's going pure white, but here and here and here, I definitely don't want that to go pure white. So again, I just hold down Alt and I can kind of see where I to stop, and to me, right about there is the right spot. Okay, now that we've done our lighting up here, let's do these down here at the bottom. I'm going to just go over these real quick. Texture increases the texture of things. So you see there's some good texture in my lanyard here, but there's not a whole lot of texture otherwhere in the photo. There's a little bit on the key, not a whole lot, but you'll see that as I crank this up. So as I start bringing this slider up, you can see the texture on the lanyard's really starting to pop. And then watch the key as I get really high, it even start to pop on the key there, which is kind of a cool thing. Just be careful with this. It's pretty easy to overdo it if you're not sure what you're doing. Clarity is kind of the same way. Clarity is going to make everything just look a little more gritty. Try to avoid the temptation to go all the way to plus 100 or minus 100. You might think those look cool, and they don't. So just a little bit of clarity goes a long way. And then dehaze is really for like landscapes and stuff like that. I hardly ever use it. If I do, I'd use just a little bit because it has a tendency to get intense really, really quickly. Last thing we want to talk about is Vibrance. Vibrance is going to enhance the colors for us. I do not like saturation here in Camera Raw. I don't use it, but I do use Vibrance. And what I do is I take this slider right here and I drag it all the way up to plus 100. And then you can see how that really made the colors pop. Her skin is orange now. This blue is super intense. It's obviously way too much. what I like to do is I like to click on this triangle and then don't look at this number at all. Ignore the number completely. Only look at your photo. In fact, look at something really colorful or skin tone if you can find it. And then I like to drag this back towards 0 until I think I'm back at 0 in my brain. And for me, that's right about there or so. You can see I ended up at plus 28. Her skin's not orange anymore. The blue doesn't look as super intense. And a good way to test that is to drag it back up to 100 again. And again, slowly drag it back without looking at the number and stop when you think you're close or when you think you're at 0. And look at that, I was at plus 23 that time. So plus 28 the first time, plus 23 the second time. Those are both pretty close. I'm pretty happy with that. The cool thing is once I'm done with this image, there's no saving. There's nothing I need to do for now. I'm just done. I can just go to the next image. And I'm going to go through all the same stops with all 5 of these images. I won't make you watch me do it, but I'm just going to work my way down from exposure all the way down to vibrance on all 5 of them, and we'll pick this up when I'm done. Okay, I'm not actually done yet, but I did want to jump in here real quick and just show you. Found a great image to demonstrate what texture looks like when you really crank up this texture slider. Watch the texture in the rock and on the front of the sign here. As I crank the texture up, you can see the rocks, each and every edge, really jumping out now, really seeing a big difference in before. Here's 0 texture, and then there's 100 texture. You can see a real nice difference, and that texture really pops out. Okay, be back when it's... Okay, so I'm done editing all my photos. What do I do with them now? Well, if I just hit done here, then these changes will still be here, but they'll only exist in Bridge, meaning if I uploaded them to Flickr, none of the changes that I made here would exist when I put those photos up there. So what I do need to do is I need to save these images. So you can see right now it just says save image because only one photo is selected. So again, I'm going to press Control A to select all 5 of them, and now it says save images, which is perfect. So I'll go ahead and click on that. This very confusing box pops up, but it's really pretty simple. You only have to change 2 things. The first is where they're going to go. So I'm always going to change this to save in a new location. And this is going to pop up saying, well, where would you like to save them? And I'm already in my Download Practice 1 folder. I'm already in where they started, but I want to put these edited photos in a new folder, in their own folder. So here in Download Practice 1, I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to call it Edited or Fixed or whatever you want to call it. It doesn't really matter what the name is. You just want to create a new folder for these photos to go into. So I'll go ahead and I'll hit select to select that folder. And you can see those are now going into O Drive period 4, John's Mr. into the edited folder in Download Practice 1. So I changed that, and then the only other thing you need to change is this file extension, and you should only have to do this one time. You just really want to make sure that's on .jpg, and it doesn't matter if it's lowercase or capital. .dng, and you won't be able to put those on Flickr. So make sure you change that to .jpg. And then after that, you are good to go. Go ahead and hit save, and you can see here's your progress of them saving. You actually don't even need to leave this open. You can just hit done, and then I'll close that out. And I'm here looking in my Download Practice 1, and I'm not seeing that edited folder. And the reason why is because my 5-star filter is turned on. So I need to come over here and turn that off. And there's my edited folder. So now I'll come in here. And there's my 5 photos. So now I'll press Control A. And those are the 5 photos that I'm going to put onto Flickr. And that's it. That's how you edit your photos in Bridge and Canva.